Modern life has quietly changed our relationship with time, not because the clock moves any faster, but because almost everything around us now responds immediately. A web page loads in a fraction of a second. A package arrives tomorrow. A message is marked read within moments. AI can generate an essay before you've finished your cup of coffee. When something takes longer than we expect, we don't simply notice it, we feel it. A slow website feels broken. A delayed text message feels personal. Silence during a meeting becomes uncomfortable. Waiting in line feels almost offensive. Without realizing it, we've begun to interpret speed as competence. This is Cultivating Intelligence, and today we're talking about time, about why some of the most intelligent systems in nature operate at speeds modern humans increasingly struggle to tolerate. I don't think humans were designed for the pace we've created. Our technology evolves exponentially. Our biology does not. The human brain still learns much the way it always has, through repetition, reflection, trial and error, experience. Most of what becomes wisdom isn't downloaded, it's lived. That creates an interesting contradiction. Our external world keeps accelerating, while our internal development continues at essentially the same pace it always has. And the gap between those two realities is creating tension everywhere. Think about a child learning to ride a bicycle. The first attempts are awkward. They wobble, they fall, they overcorrect, they get frustrated. No one would suggest skipping those experiences by simply telling the child how balance works. Balance isn't learned through explanation. It's learned through thousands of tiny corrections that happen almost faster than conscious thought. The learning happens because the struggle exists. The delay matters, the repetition matters, and the mistakes matter. Nature seems to understand something we've begun to forget. Some forms of intelligence cannot be rushed. I've noticed this in my own attempts at gardening. About 2 years ago, I bought what was supposed to be milkweed, but it actually looked like a plain pot of dirt. The seeds had not sprouted yet, so I was buying it on faith that it would turn into something spectacular. For the following few months, I kept it on my kitchen counter by a window. Every morning I'd check the container, looking for the first sign of life. It remained a pot of dirt for a very long time, but eventually it did begin to sprout. Finally, a tiny green shoot had emerged, so small it would have been easy to miss. Over the next several weeks, it seemed to do almost nothing at all. A few leaves, a little more height, not exactly the dramatic growth I'd imagined. And then there was a burst of growth. And eventually it was strong enough to move outside into the garden, where it spent the rest of the season quietly establishing itself. It didn't produce the spectacular blooms I'd hoped for. Most of its energy was happening somewhere I couldn't see, building roots that would support whatever came next. Then another winter passed. The following spring, the milkweed returned with a kind of confidence it hadn't shown before. It grew taller, stronger, and before long, it was covered in clusters of blooms. Soon after came the monarch butterflies, drifting from flower to flower before carefully laying their eggs beneath the leaves. Looking back, it would have been easy to think the transformation happened all at once. But it didn't. The blooms I was celebrating that second year had actually begun the moment that tiny seed first started putting down roots. Almost all of the important work had happened long before there was anything impressive to see. Nature is full of progress that hides beneath the surface. Bulbs spend months developing underground before they ever emerge. Butterflies spend far longer inside a chrysalis than they do flying. Oyster shells slowly layer themselves around a grain of irritation until a pearl forms. None of those systems are optimized for immediate gratification. They're optimized for survival, for resilience, for producing something that will last. Modern life teaches almost the opposite lesson. Every notification provides immediate feedback. Every social media post receives instant evaluation. Every purchase can be tracked in real time. Our work increasingly revolves around dashboards, metrics, response times, and productivity indicators. We have become accustomed to knowing how we're doing almost immediately. Psychologists often describe this as an immediate reinforcement loop. When an action is followed by a quick reward, the brain learns to repeat it. You hear a notification, you check your phone. Someone liked your post, you receive an email, you complete a task, and immediately watch the progress bar move. Tiny moments of satisfaction, repeated hundreds of times a day, quietly train us to expect that our effort should produce an equally immediate response. The remarkable thing is that this isn't limited to technology. Once our brains become accustomed to rapid feedback, we begin carrying that expectation into every part of life. We become impatient when learning a new skill doesn't produce quick improvement, frustrated when a difficult conversation doesn't immediately repair a relationship, disappointed when organizational change doesn't produce instant results. We start measuring progress by what we can see today instead of what may be taking shape over weeks or even years. The irony is that many of the things we value most simply don't work that way. Trust accumulates one interaction at a time. Expertise delivers through thousands of small corrections. Confidence grows by surviving repeated uncertainty. Character is built through experiences that often don't feel rewarding in the moment. The brain may crave immediate reinforcement, but human flourishing has always depended on delayed gratification. Some of the greatest rewards in life ask us to keep investing long before there is any obvious evidence that our investment is paying off. The brain naturally begins seeking the next piece of feedback, the next notification, the next accomplishment, the next answer. Eventually, waiting itself starts to feel uncomfortable. Not because waiting changed, but because we did. I worry most about what this means for younger generations. Adolescence has always been a period of experimentation, trying and failing and wondering and being bored, learning who you are. But boredom has become something many people try to eliminate. The moment there's silence, a phone appears. The moment curiosity begins, an answer is already available. The moment uncertainty arrives, AI can often complete the thought. The problem isn't that these tools exist. The problem is that creativity often begins where certainty ends. Some of our most original ideas don't appear while we're consuming information. They appear while we're walking, or driving, or looking out a window, taking a shower, doodling, and sketching. The brain needs periods of apparent idleness because that's often when it starts connecting ideas that didn't previously belong together. Those quiet moments aren't empty. They're computational. AI introduces another fascinating paradox. It dramatically compresses production. It can generate writing in seconds, create images almost instantly. It can summarize enormous amounts of information before lunch. Those are extraordinary capabilities. But there's an important distinction. AI compresses execution. It doesn't compress human maturation. I can ask AI for an answer. I cannot ask AI to give me 20 years of judgment. Judgment still develops the old-fashioned way, through experience, through mistakes, through consequences, through living long enough to recognize patterns. That's something no amount of processing power replaces. Organizations struggle with this distinction now. Executives, understandably, want transformation to happen quickly. Employees are expected to adopt to new technologies immediately. Teams are asked to embrace entirely new ways of working while continuing to deliver yesterday's results. A project's implementation schedule may last 10 months. human adaptation rarely follows the same timeline. Truth isn't installed, culture isn't deployed, confidence doesn't arrive on go live weekend. Those things develop through repeated interactions between people. Leadership often succeeds or fails based on whether it respects those human timelines. The best leaders know that change happens at the speed of trust, not the speed of the project plan. This tension follows us home as well. Work teaches us to answer immediately. Family often needs us to listen patiently. Our careers reward responsiveness. Our relationships require presence. Technology encourages constant attention. The people we love often need uninterrupted attention. Those aren't the same thing. It's becoming increasingly difficult to move between those worlds. Many of us carry workplace urgency into our personal lives. We answer conversations the way we answer emails. We solve problems before we've fully heard them. We fill every quiet moment because silence now feels inefficient. If some of life's most meaningful experiences refuse to operate on those terms, friendship develops over years. Children grow one ordinary day at a time. Healing rarely follows a schedule. Grief doesn't respect deadlines. Love cannot be accelerated. Neither can trust. Nature is a good reminder of this. A river doesn't carve a canyon through force. It does so through persistence. Coral reefs are built by countless tiny organisms, one generation at a time. A beehive becomes remarkably sophisticated, not because any single bee understands the whole system, but because thousands of small interactions accumulate over time. Nature doesn't chase immediate gratification. It optimizes for survivability, for adaptability, for continuity, for the next season, not merely the next moment. Perhaps that's why nature appears so patient. It isn't trying to win today. It's trying to remain healthy tomorrow. Maybe that's the question modern humans need to ask ourselves. Are we optimizing our lives for immediate satisfaction or for long-term flourishing? Those are often very different goals. One rewards speed. The other rewards wisdom. One values quick answers. The other values better questions. One celebrates acceleration. The other recognizes that some forms of intelligence only emerge when we allow time to do its work. As artificial intelligence continues becoming faster, more capable, and more accessible, preserving those slower human capacities may become even more important. We need reflection, patience, observation, creative wandering, deep conversation, judgment. Those aren't inefficiencies. They're part of how human intelligence develops. Technology will almost certainly continue accelerating. The question is whether we can resist the temptation to believe that everything valuable should accelerate with it. So, what do we do about it? I don't think the answer is to abandon technology. Speed is incredibly useful. Instant communication saves lives. AI can eliminate tedious work. Fast access to information has expanded human potential in remarkable ways. The challenge isn't speed itself. It's allowing speed to become our default expectation for everything. Maybe the real skill we need to cultivate is learning to recognize when we're solving an engineering problem and when we're living a human one. Engineering problems often benefit from acceleration. Human problems often benefit from attention. If a computer can calculate something in seconds, let it. If AI can summarize hundreds of pages before your meeting, use it. But don't expect trust to form at the speed of an algorithm. Don't expect creativity to appear on demand. Don't expect a child to mature because they've consumed more information. And don't expect yourself to become wiser simply because you've received more answers. Sometimes the most productive thing we can do is resist the urge to optimize. Go for a walk without listening to anything. Sit with a difficult question before searching for an answer. Spend an afternoon tending a garden instead of measuring its progress. Allow a team enough time to wrestle with an idea instead of immediately offering the solution. Those moments may look inefficient from the outside, but they're often where insight is quietly forming. Perhaps that's one of nature's greatest lessons. A butterfly doesn't emerge stronger because someone cuts open the chrysalis. The struggle itself strengthens the wings. Remove the process, and you weaken the outcome. Maybe human intelligence works much the same way. Some experiences aren't obstacles to learning. They are the learning. And perhaps cultivating intelligence in the age of AI isn't about resisting faster technology. Perhaps it's about learning which parts of being human should remain beautifully, intentionally, and necessarily slow. Next time, we're talking about optimization and whether humans eventually optimize the humanity out of the systems they built. This is Cultivating Intelligence.
This podcast explores ideas at the intersection of art, nature, and AI. The perspectives shared are intended to inspire curiosity and conversation, not to serve as professional advice. As with any evolving field, listeners are encouraged to think critically and seek additional perspectives.